the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled is Kristin Nelson Tinker and director Henry Jaglom. Henry's work has covered many, many years and many, many experiences. He seems to me to be the quintessential filmmaker. Do you enjoy making films?
Well, if I'm a quintessential filmmaker, I should enjoy it, yes.
I think you are, but are you?
Well, I don't know what quintessential means. I think you mean that I do a lot of different things. I write and direct and produce the films and act in them. I love doing it. I wouldn't do it otherwise, sure.
And how do you bring your experiences to all these different situations?
Well, I've always seen film as an attempt to try to do more than just tell a story. I've been very interested in using aspects of my own life and the lives of the people around me to try to sort of get at some kind of internal truth about what's really going on in our existence. So often films reflect a very artificial kind of reality that we can't identify with. So my job, it seems to me, is to try to tell the truth.
Well, when you tell the truth and when you use your autobiographical stories...
Not just autobiographical, because it's like a film like Eating or Baby Fever isn't about me, but it's about the people around me that I see, the lives that I see around me.
But do you do it directly? I mean, how does it make an interesting picture if you're just telling your story?
I think everything is autobiographical in one sense or another. Every creative act is an autobiographical act. No, I don't try to tell my story in a simple way. I mean, I try to create a superstructure which is theatrical, which unfolds a story. I mean, in this case of Deja Vu, it's not at all autobiographical. It's just about an emotional sort of autobiography, the autobiography of the dreams that I've had since my childhood about this perfect romance. But then you create a theatrical story and you try to set your feelings into that story.
Seems to me Deja Vu was a little bit more structured.
Much more structured, yes. Because that's largely the influence of Victoria Foyt, who is my wife and my co-writer and the star of the movie, because she loves a good narrative. I have resisted narrative much of my filmmaking career, but with the last film, Last Summer in the Hamptons, and then very much now with Deja Vu, I feel that certain stories lend themselves, certain emotional truths lend themselves to a really good, solid story. And this one is about a story. But
do you feel it was your imagination on this Deja Vu? I'm saying it wrong all the time.
Deja Vu. No, that's right.
From what I understand, you and Victoria both had these kind of ideas.
Well, we shared a certain kind of sense of an otherworldliness. When we met, we felt like we had known each other before, and we were astonished by that. And we realized that in many people's lives, which is what Deja Vu is about, you may be happily in one relationship. You may think you know what your life is all about and it's all going to unfold according to a certain kind of simple plan, and it seems to be working quite nicely. Your partner is a very good partner. And then you meet somebody and you suddenly feel, my God, this is the person I was destined to be with. So what is that feeling? What is that destiny? And is there such a thing as predestined love? And that's what I try to examine in the film.
So she had those feelings before, because I understand she had been thinking about him for years before
also.
she had ever met you. Mm-hmm. And you must have obviously had them.
Yeah, there have been preoccupations, I think, of both of us. And many, many people I know. That's why the responses have been so nice to the film, because I didn't realize to what degree people carry in their hearts this yearning for this sort of perfect, dreamy kind of finding the love of your life, finding your mate, your soulmate, as they say in the movie.
And this had to be more structured, maybe.
It had to be. It required that. Because you set it up with the story of her meeting this woman in Jerusalem who tells her a story, and then you have to unfold. She goes to Paris, and she goes to Dover, and comes to London, and certain things. It's not like one of my films, like Eating, or Someone to Love, or Baby Fever, which are more thematic, or Venice, which deal with an essential theme, and we circle around it, the theme. This is much more of an old-fashioned traditional narrative, though I think set in very contemporary contemporary, real terms.
You do have it set in contemporary. I mean, everything is of today, and yet there's this eerie kind of feeling going on in the back, this dream world. I think you brought a clip from the beginning of Deja Vu.
Just to set it up.
Just to set it up. Should we see that now? We're in Jerusalem, right?
You're in Jerusalem at a cafe in the city.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Would you mind if I join you?
Of course not.
Thank you. So much beauty. It's really too beautiful here to sit alone.
It's true, it's gorgeous.
You're a tourist?
Well, not exactly. I'm here on business. But it's my first time here.
I come every year nearly.
Really?
Yes. I don't stay in Jerusalem. It's too much for me.
Why?
But it is too holy to sleep here. I sleep in Tel Aviv. I stay in a nice little hotel on Ayakon Street by the ocean. The Ketedan, maybe you heard of it? I sleep well there, and I come to Jerusalem. It's so close. You're American, huh?
Yes, I am.
Engaged, I see.
Yes, I suppose I am.
Oh, I see. You don't sound so thrilled, huh?
No, it's just that it's become a condition of my life, a fact of my life, I guess, because I've had this ring for 6 years. I've been engaged for 6 years. But my boyfriend is very happy because I finally set a date, so we're getting married soon.
Yes, but you are not happy about it.
I'm very happy about it, actually. He's a wonderful guy. He's great. I wish you were here. I love your pen.
Hi. So
you got so involved that you lost your place.
I
Yes,
totally did.
That's nice.
I was watching.
That's good. If we can have that effect on the audience, I'm very happy. So.
One of the things that I always find about your films is that you discover new people. Although Aviva Marx, who played the woman,
is well known in Israel, but not here. Yes, I found her in Israel. I found her interviewing people because it was so important to set up the movie that this woman have a magical kind of quality, an otherworldly, timeless kind of quality, because she tells a story. She proceeds to tell a story to our star, Dana, played by Victoria Foyt, about a pin that she's wearing, which has to do with a lost love, a perfect lost love from a generation earlier. And she gets so emotionally involved that she gets up and leaves the table and never comes back, leaving Dana with the pin and having to find the answer to a mystery. So, which sets us on our whole journey of the film.
And then
so it was terribly
you
important that she be somebody who really captures you. And that takes
did you interview a lot of people?
Oh, yeah, thousands
Oh, you
of people,
did?
Yeah. In fact, I didn't want to use her because she's English. She's an English Israeli, not a French Israeli, and I wanted somebody because of a story with. I don't like to use people doing accents, but. In many ways, this film is a departure for me because it's much more narrative and much more structured.
But one of the things with you is you seem to keep discovering new people.
I mean,
you had David Duchovny, Francis Fisher.
I didn't discover Orson Welles. I mean, he was discovered before me. But
you had a thing for Orson Welles,
well, we were very
didn't you?
close friends, and he was in my first movie, and then he was sadly in his last movie.
But did you always look to him as a great actor and want to work with him?
Well, not more than an actor. He was just a film presence, an astonishing person who was trying to be an artist in an industry where art is a dirty word, and you get punished for trying to be an artist. So for me, that was a very noble kind of, and yet sad, example that you had to watch out for, and at the same time you could admire. So I'd learned from Orson things, very important things, positive things about not giving in, about making movies for their own sake, about really trying to tell the truth. But at the same time, the negative lesson was never to depend on Hollywood. No.
But that's why I like your films, because the art is in the art.
Yeah.
And did you have long discussions with Mr. Welles with him about that?
Yeah. We had lunch 2 or 3 times a week, every week, for the last 15 years of his life. And we would talk endlessly about that, because part of what I was trying to do, I failed. But part of what I was trying to do, beside making my movies, was trying to get him one last movie to make. And nobody would help us.
It never worked?
No, because they were scared of him. They were intimidated by his truthfulness, by his reality, by his unwillingness to play by the Hollywood rules.
Did you go to film school?
No.
No. Are you self-taught? How did you get into films?
Well, I'm an actor, and I started as an actor at the Actors Studio in New York. Lee Strasberg taught me about truthfulness in your behavior, moment-to-moment reality, the method of acting, and I applied that to, I always wanted to make films, so I just started writing my own scripts and peddling them, and you know, there are no set ways to get into this if you want to be a filmmaker. So in my case, I don't know, film school might be an acceptable way. Mine was acting. I figured that if I was on enough sets watching what was going on enough, I would learn what I needed to know.
But you've been in many of your movies. You have acted in
only
many
when
movies.
only when I can't get somebody cheaper than myself.
But what happens? Do you feel like you're out of the limelight when you're not in it? Like Deja Vu, you weren't in it?
No, I didn't feel the need. There was no part for me in Deja Vu. No, usually I only want to put myself in my movies when what the story is about is a character going through something similar to what I'm going through in my life, at the end of a marriage, like in Always, or searching for love, like in Someone to Love, or trying to move on in life, like in New Year's Day. In those cases, I didn't think anybody else could quite do what I could do because I felt very close to the central character.
But it was you were the central character.
They were
in
fictionalized versions of myself, but I certainly understood the character well enough to do that. But in Deja Vu, I wanted to get a really cute, sexy, romantic lead to play opposite Victoria because I wanted this to be those kind of dreamy movies of our childhood, you know, like that just made you fall in love with the very idea of love. And we found this wonderful actor, Stephen Delane, in London. He was starring in Hamlet, and then he's in Welcome to Sarajevo. Yeah, he starred in that.
Critically acclaimed.
But everybody has always said after Sarajevo, they all said, well, if he gets a good love story, he'll be a huge star, and I think this is his good love story.
But we're back to where I said
Casting
you're discovering,
new people,
or actually not discovering
not new
what you
necessarily,
said.
but using people in a new kind of way, giving them the opportunity to use stuff about themselves, which frequently in conventional filmmaking they don't get the chance to do.
Are you a painter?
Yes. How did you know that?
I don't know, because you paint a picture on film. Rather, I haven't seen any of your work.
Yeah, I've painted. That's my other thing in life.
You have a big body of work. It was so big that PBS did a special on you. And
not an altogether friendly special, but they got a lot of people who said a lot of mean things and a lot of people who said a lot of nice things. And I must say I was shocked by the mean things. But
I think that's what's
nice
part
things.
of it. It's like a boxer going into the ring. You have to take your blows.
I don't mind it. I kind of like it. I'm always surprised when people don't think I'm the most adorable thing in the world. You know, when they think I have all these complicated motives for doing things, or you know, I'm just shocked. I think, you know, I like me, and I think I'm swell, so I'm a little surprised by it. By the virulence of some of the attacks, that's what surprises me.
But I think that's all part of life, and I think the strength in you really.
And especially if you're trying to tell the truth, if you're trying to really to do something in a different form as an artist. I mean, any kind of artist.
Exactly.
You encounter a lot of resistance. A lot of people are scared of something that forces them to confront a certain kind of emotional reality.
What about terming your films, you've called them narrative?
No, they're not usually narrative. Now they've become more
narrative, documentary-like in a way.
They're not documentary-like. I think the best thing, a critic in New York said that my films are not cinema verite because they're invented, but they're emotional verite, which means they're really, all I try to do is tell the emotional truth. I find a theatrical form to do that. And in that sense, they're conventional films. But I try to get under the conventional storytelling to the real essential truth of our human lives and loves and yearnings and dreams and all the things that really we spend our lives dealing with.
But not guerrilla filmmaking.
No, it's not guerrilla filmmaking, though some of the process of shooting can be guerrilla. I mean, in Tracks with Dennis Hopper, we stole aboard a train because you couldn't get the licenses, and I've done a lot of that in my life in order to get those films made, sure. Now it's a little different. With Deja Vu, I had a nice budget. I've got an English producer who produced all the Monty Python films. I've got the comfort and support of a little larger setup. But there's a guerrilla in me still.
That's what I was
true.
thinking.
Oh, that's true.
We're going to let the guerrilla leave.
Okay, thank you, Henry. I'm very happy to be here.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Joan.
Don't go away. We'll be back with Kristin Nelson Tinker. We'll talk about her painting on the set, and we'll be right back. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and we're back with artist, author, dancer, everything, everything you can think of, Kristin Nelson Tinker. Kristen comes from a very, very heavy celebrity family. Her father was a great sports announcer and a fabulous football talent. Her mother is a beautiful, gorgeous actress, Elise Knox, and she can go on
and on.
And on, Kristen, till you tell me the rest of your family. Well, let's get a little round picture and then we'll go into your autobiography by Abrams.
Okay, what do you want me to, which part of the family do you want me to go into?
Let's start.
Well, you introduced my parents, and I've got a sister, Kelly, who is an actress, and a brother, Mark, who is an actor. I think he's doing Chicago Hope now. Let's see, I've got 4 children. My daughter is an actress. I have 3 boys. The youngest, Sam, is in school in Boston, and the twins are just going into country music. They had their turn at rock and roll, and now they're in Nashville and producing and writing and doing things for other people also.
Do they have a group? They still have a group? Because they played together, Gunnar and Matthew.
Right. They changed from Nelson to the Nelsons.
Oh, good.
It's a very important difference there.
Are they going to put anyone else in their group?
I don't think so. No, they're back to doing their really splendid harmonies and acoustic guitar.
And of course, they get that from their father, who was?
Their dad was Rick Nelson, and that's the other side of the family, which is Ozzie and Harriet and David. And
they're all actors, or producers, or in the business in some way.
They are, yeah. The bottom line is this 5th generation show business.
Did you ever think that that was going to happen to you growing up in West LA?
Happened to me?
Yes, it all just happened to you. You're in the middle of this big...
It just happened, Joan. There I was. Yeah, it was something that just came really naturally because I didn't know any other way.
I think once you start talking about the arts, you're just a part of the arts, from acting to, I know you wanted to be a dancer at one time.
Yeah, I did. I was given a choice when I was little to either take ballet lessons or to pick up marbles with my toes. and the ballet sounded a little better, so that's been a lifelong passion. You know that, we go to class together.
I know, but you did dance, didn't you? You danced on stage.
I did, yeah.
One thing that I didn't say, were you ever a singer?
Well, yeah, actually I did Sound of Music.
Did you?
And Peter Pan, yeah, I did. But it's like, I mean, being married to Rick, I was a little hesitant, to say the least.
What about the book? You went the book out of my mind. The book that was going to just take a few months to put together.
Right. I was approached by a publisher who wanted me to do a book of my paintings. And
which is, let's talk, this is one of the paintings.
Yeah, that's my daughter's wedding on Catalina Island. And that's a bed and breakfast over there. I think it was the old Wrigley Mansion. When Tracy, before she got married, she was told that her father, who had been killed, would be represented in the form of a white cross on a hill. And it was there. She didn't put that in. So it's also in the painting. And we hung some gardenias around it, which was his favorite flower.
Did you just find the site?
Yeah.
The site was...
She found the site. And then she saw the cross. And then the rest was...
the painting.
Yeah.
The rest gives you the creeps in a way. So then you started to put together your paintings.
I have always painted, and I've done it as a way of journaling my life because I always felt hindered by writing, by having to censor it. I felt like somebody was always looking over my shoulder, like my siblings, my parents, you know, it was like listening in on phones. There was not a whole lot of privacy in the 50s.
Hey, and yet, many of the passages in the book are things from your diary or things from journals that you kept. So you were writing as well.
I was. I got a little more faith in being able to keep the secret, so to speak, as I grew older. And also I moved out of the house, so it was easier to write things down.
Was that after you got married?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because you moved out very young.
Yeah, I was 17. Yeah, I just graduated high school and got engaged.
So as you started putting your paintings together, what happened? It didn't take a few months, did it?
The paintings are about 35 years worth of work. And I kept a record of the paintings as they were sold or commissioned or whatever. It's probably the only really organized thing I've ever done, but I did have those transparencies. So when they approached me about doing this book of the paintings, I thought, this would be great. I could do this in 6 months. And then they wanted a little, this is exactly what they said, a little text just to weave the paintings together. And that took 6 years. That was what was extraordinary.
Except that so much of it was already written. You did take quotations from different authors.
I did. I took lyrics from songs that were important to me at the time I was actually doing the paintings, and a sign of the times. Music has always been really important.
So those are interwoven.
Those are, right. And then favorite poets and poems that seemed to apply to the paintings. But no, there was a great deal of editing with the book because I had to keep remembering it was about the paintings.
How upsetting was it to you to go through some of those things? I mean, we can talk about now saying you had to hide your diary. I remember reading in here, I had to hide my diary. I found a place in the bathroom, and then you knew that somebody still found your
Somebody
diary.
was still looking at it.
But then going through the rest of the things, through your life with Rick, through your life with your family, your children.
Yeah, it was very difficult. And I'd find myself in major dark tunnels, and trying to pull myself out of that to sort of get on with it was a little tricky. But I was determined to finish it. It just took a little longer than I expected.
Did they keep giving you directions? Or were you pretty much on your own?
I was pretty much on my own. I had a wonderful editor and a really fine art director who was, I think, very skilled at not making it look like a scrapbook, which is what I wanted to avoid.
Ah.
Yeah.
So once you started putting these things together, you had already married Mark Tinker,
right.
Who's also in show business.
Right. He's a producer-director, right, and his family's also in show business. His stepmother is Mary Tyler Moore, or was Mary Tyler Moore, and she was the original dancer, Happy Hot Point, on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet.
Oh, you're kidding. It all came back in a circle?
It all came back in a circle, yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Small town.
Really small, but I think you're really the pinpoint on that. I don't think anyone else has that whole circle like you do, covering everything and continues to cover everything.
Yeah.
One of the things I know when we used to talk, you were going to be a casting director, you were going to do all these different things, but you never ever told me you were an artist. You used to collect art, buy art, hang out with artists in Venice, but you never used to talk about your work.
That's true, because I never, especially to you, I couldn't say I was an artist. It didn't come freely. It just stopped right there. And it was something I mean, it's such a big term to me, and it's something that I've always wanted to be. My mother was very skilled and very schooled, and that was another hesitation on my part.
She's a painter too?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
But
that.
she paints quite differently. I am obviously not schooled, and she is very good at what she does. Yeah, Mom won an award for me when I was in grade school. She took a poster I did for a kids contest and fixed it during the night.
Oh, she fixed it?
She fixed it. And when I woke up and saw that poster, which was completely gorgeous and beautiful and skilled and shaded, and anyway, it was too late to do anything about it. I took it to school, and I won some kind of national award in the 6th grade.
Are you kidding?
Mom never said another word about having anything to do with it. She would just say, oh, you know, my daughter is really clever, and she's an artist. Look what she can do. And I thought, I didn't do that.
Did she encourage you to be an artist? Or did
in
she
that way
encourage
she
you?
did, but what it did was it just made me withdraw more and try and find more places to do it by myself.
Oh, I see. Well, you're what we call a primitive
Yes.
painter, naive,
Unschooled.
painting. Unschooled.
Yeah.
Well, tell us what primitive or the term naive means.
Well, it's all pretty much the same term, and it's just somebody who hasn't had any education, so to speak, in art. I can't paint a face to look like a face or an orange to look like an orange, but I can. It's actually really memory painting, I think, has a lot to do with this kind of art. Just remembering scenes and being able to fill it up with what you know.
Do you use photographs?
Yeah.
You use photographs. So
It
you
depends, but-
document some of the things that you want to paint?
Right. I have a very long painting that's in the book, and actually it was 12 feet long and 2 feet wide, but it's the whole Sunset Strip in the 70s. And when people see it today, my kids especially, it's like, wow, you know, you have a good imagination. Where did that come from? But it was all there.
Where did it? Did you
No, it was there.
photograph it?
Don't you remember we had all those flowing robes and tie-dyes?
But you remembered it all?
I did.
Because Ed Ruscha did the Sunset Strip.
Yes, he did. I just saw that series of his pictures, of his photographs.
He's funny, but you had no idea. You were just doing it on your own.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there another book coming?
I think so.
Yes?
I think there is, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
What
I
will
want
it
to
be?
speak to women.
And what kind of voice?
In a very simple voice. Just to talk about courage, to do what you believe in.
We do paintings?
I'll illustrate it. Yeah. But it won't be quite as long or take as long as this, hopefully.
Why do you feel like you can talk to women?
I've had
what are the things you've gone through?
Yeah, I've had a really good response from the things I've written about in the book, and I've really tried to be truthful, and I've tried to do it with courage, and to, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it. It's not a mommy dearest, it's not a slam on anybody, it's just one person trying to get through life and my experiences.
The next book, not this book, because this isn't really a mommy dearest, is it?
No, this isn't, no. I was talking about this book.
Oh, you were talking about this book. The
right.
next book I was thinking
the next
you were
book, I
talking
think it's going to be really simple and more along the lines of The Giving Tree, Shel Silverstein's book. Very simple, poetic.
But what I was getting at is, how do you have the experience? Just from what you've gone through? Are you taking classes? Are you
taking classes and experience?
Yes. Well, taking classes in sensitivity.
In sensitivity? No, I just. A lot has happened. I've lost a lot of people along the way, and I think I can offer some kind of support about that, because that's something you don't know about till it happens to you.
But all learning, your own learning, through all your own experiences.
Right. I can only say what's happened to me, and through that maybe someone else will pick it up and go, well, yeah, then I can do that too.
So we don't see a cooking book coming out.
Unless I do my grandmother's recipes.
Well, see, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, she was a Viennese cook, so those are pretty spectacular. Oh, and I grew up eating the butter and the sugar and the salt.
And look how gorgeous your whole family is, just so beautiful.
Well, so much for a healthy diet.
So there you are. I want to thank you for coming in today,
Thank you for
Chris.
asking me to come in.
And we'll see you back in ballet class with our teacher, Tatiana Ryabushinska.
Yep.
And we'll be back. See you next week. And thanks for being with us. Don't forget to write at 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. See you next time.